The goal was to do 20 miles a day, armed with only the essentials in my pack. The aim was to walk at least 20 miles a day and wild camp wherever I lay my pack that night.
This is Liam Brown, aka I call him The Machine. Not only has he been to the highest point in the UK up on top of Ben Nevis just to pick up a rock to drop it in the lowest point in the UK, not only has he wild camped in nearly every national park in the UK, wait there, it doesn't end there. Not only has he done the coast-to-coast war, 180 miles across country, but this kid backpacked across Britain.
Backpacking Britain. This is my journey, walking from John O'Groats in Scotland to Land's End in England. Solo.
He walked John O'Groats all the way down to Land's End with the statement of trying to do 20 mile a day. And it got me thinking, have I ever actually walked 20 mile in a day? Well, as it turns out, the step counter on my phone doesn't record in mileage. It only records the amount of steps you've done. Now, over the last 2 years that I've had this phone, the most steps I've ever done is 32,668. That works out at around about 15 miles. So let's go and do it. Can we walk 20 miles? Liam's only a normal guy. How hard could it be? First stop, a little bit of food. And then we make our way. Now, I am cheating a little bit. I mean, Liam's 20 mile a day is up over the West Highland way, up over the highest mountains and through the Lake District again, all over the hills. Mine's fairly flat because I have a feeling this is probably going to be harder than what it actually sounds like it's going to be. I don't know. We've got 9 kilo on our backs just to add for a little bit of extra weight. Just see how it goes. It's a fairly stable path, near enough the whole way. These are the markers we're following, 10 mile to Ferry Lock. So I'm hoping we see markers like that the whole way, just to make sure we're still on track. They might be there, they might not be there. We'll hopefully see a few of them on the way anyway. It'd be nice to see the progression throughout the whole walk. Yes, that's a 10 mile, because I'm going to do 10 mile there, 10 mile back, because the van's parked up there. Now, I do have a few advantages over Liam. One, I'm staying fairly flat for the majority of this walk, whereas he was up over the hills. Number two, I've got really good weather. It's overcast, it's not too warm, it's not too windy. It's just perfect.
And I'm here smelling of crap. Quite literally. Going up a hill, soaking wet, feet are just soaked.
First little waterfall of the day comes from the bridge. Whoosh. That's pretty cool, to be fair. Into this little whirlpool down here. I've already started to get a little twinge in my legs. I take it my legs haven't quite recovered yet from the Snowdon sunrise the other day. If you've not seen that video, go back and have a look. It's the last one I uploaded. Pan of chocolate for breakfast. Is that another tombstone I can see just sat there? Oh, it is. Let's see where this one goes. So we've done a mile, 9 mile to Ferry Lock. It means we're going in the right direction at least. I think with Liam just being an ordinary human, it sort of gave everyone hope when he done like the backpacking Britain one. Anybody can do it sort of thing. But can anybody just walk 20 mile? I mean, if my fat ass can do it, I'm sure yours can. I'm saying that all dead optimistic, and I've only just covered a mile. Whilst walking and just taking in some of the natural beauty that was around, we started to get a load of realisations of just how old and industrial the local area used to be, with all of its old coal mining, its old canal systems, its old railway systems, and just how that's not there no more, but loads of ruins are, how all the native wildlife is adapted to the areas that are left now. It's just been absolutely mind-blowing to see some of the old frameworks and just all the bits that used to make this work in an industrial society. We started plugging off the mileage, enjoying some of the wildlife. We really did enjoy seeing all the old swans kicking around, all the fish that we saw under the water. They really have adapted to life after the war. All the old lands now turned into farmlands, and we just started plugging away the mileage and loving every minute of it. Well, that marks the halfway point. Halfway to get there. It's actually a quarter, because I've got to get there and back. 5 miles in. There's been so many little notifications and signs kicking around on this actual footpath, this trail. It's actually called the Sankey Canal Trail. It's the oldest modern canal system in the UK, as in it was the first modern canal ever made. I mean, it's not really active anymore, because there's the canal. I mean, but check out, look, the old lock just there. It's absolutely fascinating to see some of this, because if you think about it, this is how local the natural resources were actually kept. Down there, you've got St Helens. That's where all the coal mining was going on. This canal fed Fiddler's Ferry power station down there with its natural fuel to be able to work. I thought that was quite fascinating. Keep the substances really local. You've got 10-mile worth of canal to source a big power station which sourced the whole of the UK with power. Granted, they're both shut down now. Fiddler's Ferry's only recently shut down, and that's having a detrimental effect on the actual native wildlife around there, just simply because the canal levels are dropping down there, and there's fish and wildlife and all sorts around there. That building was there before the M62, before the railway. Wow! It's amazing what you learn on these historical trails. There's some more old canal memorabilia, I guess you'd say. There's like a trail this side and on that side, so I don't know if it was like a lock system, a passing system. This is a Winnick Quay area of the Sankey Canal trail. It looks like they're doing a load of work, but when you follow the trail, and I'm just going to find another way around this. And it's a good thing I've got OS Maps app on my phone. The tarmac path's gone. We're just left with this little towpath thing. We're right next to the river, which is just down there. There's a bridge just over there. I think we've got to go over that according to the map. Yep, we've got to go over the bridge. There's the little river that we've been following. Same on this side. And then when we get over the bridge, we've got to turn left. Now I think there's a little track just here on the left, and we follow that basically until that's it, I think. Note to self, zoom in the map. Not that path we're going down, but we go under the trees and take that one. Not properly zooming into the maps has got me in trouble a couple of times, so I need to keep an eye on that one. I've not seen one of those mile markers for a while though. Definitely on the right way. Let's keep going. Oh, that's a cute little pond. We're still on the right path. There we go. Straight over the bridge. You've got more sorts of canal ruins that have been turned into more streams now. Look, check this out. All the old works on the side, all the bridges, the old metal work. It's just very, very historical. I can definitely see why they call it historical. There we go. It's an old lock just there. Little dog just sat there having a whale of a time. It's called the Beasley Lock. Now this St Helens Canal, it was opened 1757, 4 years before the Bridgewater Canal. How fascinating is that? You've just got to love the wildlife you see around waterways. Look at that, standard grey heron, just loving life. Definitely a couple of miles since we last saw one of those mile markers. I have a feeling they might be on the cycle path, which is on the other side of the canal. Yeah, look at the chins. Oh. Yeah. Hello, Mr. Bunny Rabbit. That just there is the old ruins from an old swing bridge. You can see how the back goes all the way around. Used to be a swing bridge that goes over here, so that road wasn't there at one point. This was a big swing bridge from this platform all the way over there. It's an amazing feat of engineering, the canal, when you really think about it. I mean, you just think about it. They made a power station, figured out a way to get us all some power, then built the canals. Men actually built the canals. Granted, the canals have been disused when it comes to the train tracks, which are now disused because it's all closed. They built the canals. Loads of men sat there with shovels, digging big massive trenches. This one, well over, this one's got 20 mile long. If you take into consideration everything, it's all well planned because it goes down to the River Mersey, so they could ship all the coal from St Helens out into the sea and out abroad and stuff like that. But this canal, they've done all that. I mean, look, this, boom, wildlife. There's a grey heron just sat there. This is now home to them now that all the shipping's gone. But they'd ship all the coal all the way down to the power station. All the men digging it out of the mines, dropping it back off over at the power station. They even thought of the design of building overflows. If it gets too full, it overflows into here and into the Sankey Brook, which they then had to build again. Check out the baby swans, the cygnets. Wow, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cygnets. That's amazing. And all the baby ducks. But if you think about it, the pure manpower that went into building infrastructures that we just take for granted these days. They've done all that just to move industry forward, build the UK up to what it is today. Not going on strike all the time. Well, they did actually, didn't they? But still, 1750 was when the canal started to get built. 1750. What's that, 200 years ago? I don't know. I'm really not that good at maths. all just to push infrastructure forward. 1757 this canal opened, first one to reopen ever. Just there in the distance you can see the Fiddler's Ferry power station, or the 8 towers, or the 8 chimneys, whatever you want to call it. That's the power station. It's unused now, it has closed down from what I've heard, but that was one of the main purposes for this canal, to fuel that. Now granted, just before that, about a mile before that, you've got the entrance to the Mersey. So the River Mersey used to have the big ships coming up the Mersey, dock up, and they used to collect all the coal and other substances from the canal that were delivered to the canal anyway, drop it on the ferries, and that's what used to power other countries. Now life aboard those canal boats wasn't as you expect. You'd expect it to be plain sailing, nice and just plodding along. It was far from that. There was a lot of robbery, people holding up the boats, robbing their cargo, putting their lives at risk, and their lives were always at risk. The ships were constantly under pressure by their managements just to keep running. 24 hours a day those boats were running. Now at the time when it first opened, it wasn't like diesel engines, that came at a later date. It was the old horses pulling, big rope on the back of the horse attached to the boat, and the horses would be going 24 hours a day, constantly up and down the canal edges, towing these boats along. There was some big weights in these boats. Demand got so high that they were trailing 4 or 5 ships together, ramming them all the way down, pulled by one horse. Slowed them down, got a lot more weight on the horse, but they'd done that, and they'd done it hard, real hard, laborious work, just to stop the robbers from coming. They just go as quick as they possibly can. If they did encounter any sorts of bandits that tried to rob them and they successfully robbed them, that load, the cost of that load would come out of their wages. Would you really want to live a life like that? Just over a mile left now, and then we're there. Well, I say we're there. We're at the pub. There's a pub and the ferry lock further down here. Yeah, then we've got to turn around and come all the way back. You can tell we're getting close to the lock because there's the canal and there's the River Mersey. The final stint along the last stretch of towpath on the canal that's been built, passing yet another family, a huge family of cygnets, and then we reached the ferry lock. That was the lock that took the coal out to the River Mersey. The lock is still functional, it's never actually used now, it's more there as a historical moment. You can see the water level is totally different, and that's the reach that goes to the canal that we've just come to. You can tell it's disused just solely by how much silt and sediment is actually still in the locks. But there's the Mersey. It is tidal, it is a brackish water as well, but that's where the big ships used to come along and get loaded by coal. We enjoyed a nice pint, sat outside the Fiddler's Ferry pub, as you just have to do after a long hike. I say after a long hike, we are still only halfway through. It was just a slow plod down here, so it is time to head back. We've got a date tonight. Problem is, I've got 3 hours to get back. It's took me 4.5 to get here. I've got to get back because I told her I'd take her out on a date. We don't want angry misses. But check this out, I took the cycle path like I said I would, and I've just found that. 2 miles. On the last walk here, I didn't see one from the 5 mile marker down to the 0 miles, and I've just stumbled across the 2 miles. So that means I've done 2 miles from Ferry Lock all the way down to here. I was on the right track, I was just on the wrong side. The part we've all been waiting for, or the path I've been waiting for. Obviously, cool background. That's the ranger's path when it was frozen. But if we swipe down, here we go, here we go. Oh, I don't know how I'm going to celebrate this, but I'm probably just going to keep walking until I get there, but we're so close. 20 steps. Here we go, here we go. 68, 68's the number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Boom! There we go, that's my new record. Let's see what it's like when I get back to the van. Wow, chuffed. Oh, 4 mile left. Oh, how'd you do this, Liam? If you are watching, Liam, check your Instagram DMs, your requests. I need some advice on how I can do this long term. Ooh, got 3 left. Just 3 more miles. One of me shins and my knees are playing up, but I'm carrying a lot more weight. You know what the tombstone means? Oh, yes. 2 mile left. I'm starting to feel the accomplishment. And the sun's come out to say hello. Oh yes, there we go. Yes. And I did it. 20 mile from there, down there and back to there. Problem is I've got another mile back to get back to the van. I'm about an hour late for date night. Wish me luck. Subscribe.